You may have seen a black lab in a rigid harness guiding someone who is blind, or a golden retriever fetching something for their handler in a wheelchair. These are common images associated with service dogs, but dogs can also be trained to help individuals with disabilities that are harder to see. In this episode of Definitely Not Crash Course, we'll be talking about these special pooches known as Psychiatric Service Dogs. In our class this semester, we have talked about many psychiatric conditions that at their worst can be completely debilitating. Severe anxiety, depression, and PTSD can sometimes be helped with meds or therapy. But for those who need a little extra help, a psychiatric service dog could be life-saving. Let's start from the beginning. What is a service dog? According to the American with Disabilities Act, a service dog is any dog that is individually trained to work or perform tasks for the benefit of an individual with a disability, including a physical, sensory, psychiatric, intellectual, or mental disability. There are of course other kinds of assistant animals, including therapy dogs and emotional support animals, but what makes a service dog different is their right to accompany their handler anywhere and their ability to perform tasks. A psychiatric service dog can be trained to assist anyone with a debilitating mental disorder. This can be anything from depression or PTSD to severe anxiety and stress. So how does someone get a psychiatric service dog? The first way is to go through a reputable training program that will raise the puppy, then fit them with their handler. The future handler will usually attend a 1 to 2 week training intensive to learn how to work with their new companion. Unfortunately, these programs can be very expensive and often have long wait lists. For some, this is simply not an option. The second way to get a psychiatric service dog is to owner train. The advantage of this route is the ability to pick and train your dog, especially to what you need. Most owner trainers will also work with a professional trainer for general guidance. The cost of this method is purely based on the care of the dog. Owner training is also a way to choose and raise a puppy or rescue an adult dog. The downsides to owner training are the higher risk that an owner-trained dog will wash out, which simply means they are not suited for service work, and the commitment to training. So what are the obedience requirements for service dogs? Service dogs are held to a very high standard. They need to have impeccable obedience to pass the public access requirements. They need to know basic skills like sit, down, stay, and leave it, as well as perfect heel in any situation. There is a complete list of requirements online, but in general, a dog needs to be completely calm and focused on their handler at all times. What are tasks? Tasks are trained behaviors that a dog performs to mitigate their handler's disability. While training a service dog to recognize symptoms and react and perform a task without being asked can take up to 2 years, the beginning of training these tasks is training them as a trick. I've asked my dog Nala to help with this next section. Nala is not a service dog, but she is very good at learning tricks and she's very smart. I'd also like to say that I am not a professional trainer, nor have I ever trained a service dog, though through my research I have found ways to train my own dog these tasks as tricks. On to the tasks. Deep pressure therapy. Deep pressure therapy is when a dog places their body weight on the lap of their handler. This is a way of calming and grounding. Some handlers also train their service dog to perform DBT while they're laying down or on their back. Blocking. Blocking is a way to create space between the handler and something or someone else. It basically creates a physical barrier for personal space. Blocking can be performed in the front, back, or sides. Behavior interruption. This is a broad task that can be specified by individual handlers. Basically, the dog is trained to nudge, paw, or lick to interrupt a harmful or persistent behavior. This can be anything from scratching, picking, knee bouncing, hair pulling, or head hitting. By no means are these the only tasks that can be taught. Some others include sensing a panic attack or heart rate elevations, guiding a disoriented handler, searching a room, retrieving medication or objects, and many more. Unfortunately, with any tool there comes people who abuse it and those who disagree with it. Fake service dogs are a growing problem in this country. Anyone can buy a $15 service dog vest on Amazon, slap it on their pet, and call them a service dog. And because we don't have a national registry, there's not an official way of documenting who is legit or not. Service dog registries are fake. This is just a waste of money and a threat to legitimate service dog teams. Why don't we have a national registry? Not having one actually makes service dogs more accessible, especially for those who are owner trained. There are of course pros and cons to a national registry, but the online ones are for sure fake. So what's the problem? If my pet dog is well behaved, why can't I bring them to Walmart with me? Well, as you've seen, becoming a service dog is a long and strenuous process. Well-behaved dogs are not the problem. The people bringing their untrained dogs into public spaces, illegally I may add, pose a threat to legitimate service dog teams. There are too many stories of untrained dogs entering stores and entering service dog teams. You wouldn't punch somebody in a wheelchair, so don't bring your pet into a non-pet friendly place. So in this episode, we have learned about what a service dog is, how they can help those with psychiatric disabilities, and how they can be life-saving to these individuals. So just remember, service dogs are doing important jobs, so if you see a vest, let it rest.